sometimes people have not been so careful about things. For example, I've known directors that have sort of thought they had all the data, right, and or thought the server was working okay, produced results, and discovered they were missing, a round and a half of data or whatever. Or somebody rang up and said, "I've not got any scores for the last 6 boards I played." Or whatever. They've turned off the laptop, they've turned off the computer, they've turned off the server, right? So recovering the server won't work now because when you recover the server, you're only putting back the re-establishing the connection at the point in which the data with data that's in the BWS. So if you've lost your connection from the server to the laptop and don't know and turned off your laptop, then you can't recover the data because it's not in the laptop, it's not in the database, it's not even in the BWS log files because it never got there. And in that situation, there's only one place to find it now, and that's in the bridgemates. Yeah. So what you need to do there is you need to connect everything up, relaunch the session, relaunch it, not launch it, and all you have at the moment is, of course, data at the point in which everything stopped. Might be after round 6 or 7, but not up to round 9. But the data is still in the bridgemates. So now you have to go around to every single bridgemate and tell the bridgemate to send the data to the server and to the BWS. And I'll show you how to do that now, or we might have a go at it. Now, I'm going to hold on a little, pick up a bridgemate, and go into the TD menu. Again. But the server's only got the same data that's in the BWS, which is in the scoring program, and the bridgemates still have data. Now, probably, if you're in a club that doesn't have its own premises, probably the bridgemates have been packed away. You might need to get them out and fix it up. Anyway, so you get a bridgemate, you go into the TD menu, and there is an option. Well, there's an option in the TD menu which says resend. And that's, if you push that option, it'll tell you how many scores are in the bridgemate, and it asks you whether you really want to resend them. If you do, it'll send the data just for that bridgemate to the server and hence to the BWS. And you can actually watch it come in. You can see it where you've got blank spots. Suddenly, it's all got all the scores from the full session. So, just for a second, the actual when you choose the option to resend, where did I find it? Here we are. There we are. This is table 7, and it says there's 27 scores in the memory. And then press OK, and it'll send them all back to BWS. However, if you just do this off your bat, you'll get a message to say that they were sent, but they weren't received. And what you also need to do is down here, see there's a little tab in the BWS that says backup scores? If we go to that, there's some boxes. And there's a box here that says accept manually resent backup scores from bridgemate. So if I tick that, it will then allow the system to accept the scores from the bridgemate when you sent them manually. So at the moment, actually, that's there for another example, so I'm not going to actually mess up that BWS. I shouldn't say mess it up, but I'm going to actually close that one, and I'm going to open another one. There is see a button down here that says reset. Here's your data. and there's a button that says resend. If you push that button, you get to this screen. It tells you what scores are in the memory. And this was a 9-table session, so there was 27 scores in the memory. But of course, you haven't got 27 scores in bridgemate database or in the server. You've only got whatever was there when you lost communication. And so you simply hit the OK button, and it'll send these 27 scores into the BWS, and then you can just import them into your scoring program. Providing you've done what I told you earlier, and that's tick that box. Tell you that you're going to send results manually to from the bridgemate. If you don't get that, then they won't go anywhere, and you've got a message to say they were rejected.
Excuse me, Laurie, a question about sending the scores. Does it just add in the missing scores, or does it add the lot?
It sends all 27 of them. So, for example, if you say, for example, in your scoring program, you found a scoring error and changed it early in the session, right? If you change it in your scoring program, but and not changed it in the bridgemate, then the bridgemate is going to send the score that it has in its memory. So you'll have to check for anomalies again and fix anything up that you might have fixed up earlier, because it'll overwrite.
Okay, but it does, in fact, overwrite existing. It doesn't add new records.
No, it sends 27 scores, and that means it's going to overwrite what's already there.
It will overwrite what's there. Cool, thank you.
I have seen people that haven't directed when a director hasn't had the setup protected. I've seen people accidentally resend scores from a previous session into a current session. It's not a huge issue. If there were more scores in the previous session than there are in the current one, that's a bit of an issue. There is a way of solving that, but I'm not going to cover that now.
Can you just show me one more time where it is in the BWS that you tick that box to say accept the recent scores?
I'll just minimise this. I need to open a BWS, won't I? Actually, no, I actually need to open a session, but that. Well, actually, I probably don't. Yeah, here it is. So, normally when you open the BWS, what you see is, I've got a blank one here, but normally you've got the results with all these things on it, right? If you go to the results tab and go to the backup tab, this will appear. Now, the backup tab isn't visible with everything. For example, if you've got the round monitor, you don't see the backup tab. The board monitor, you don't. The result matrix, you do. Players, you don't. So you need to choose a tab which actually is showing physical scores in your BWS, and then you can go to normally that's normally what you see normally. You go across the backup scores, tick that, and then you're ready to go. It's good not to have it ticked permanently, because if somebody does accidentally send some scores from a bridgemate, you don't want them in the BWS unless you know where they came from. So normally you wouldn't have it ticked, but you need to do that, otherwise you're not going to get anything. Of course, sending scores from the bridgemate is the very last resort when everything else doesn't work. Normally recovering the server, relaunching, reconnecting, all those things go before you consider doing this.